Hello students, this is Monica, PGD in Computer Science from Sri GK Jain Higher Secondary School. Today I am going to teach for 11th standard for both the streams, Computer Science and for Computer Applications, a common chapter, Chapter 3, Computer Organization. And this video is a continuation of my previous video. In the part 1 video, I already explained you about the basics of microprocessor and the characteristics of the microprocessor. So coming to the today's topic, we are going to discuss about how the data is communicated between your CPU and the memory. So you will have a bus connectivity diagram for explaining this data communication. How this data communication is actually happening between your CPU and the memory. So before explaining this diagram, I have to explain you the terminologies. What are terminologies we are using here? I have to explain each and every terminology, whatever is being used here. The first one is your MAR and MDR. The CPU will have these two inside it, MAR and MDR. And this MAR stands for Memory Address Register and this MDR stands for Memory Data Register. What this MDR and MAR is actually doing inside your CPU? This MDR, by the word data, you can easily note down, it will keep the data transferred between your memory and the CPU. So whatever data is being transferred between your memory and the CPU or from CPU to the memory, that data is tracked and saved here in your memory data register. And coming to your address register, what are the data is storing? That address is keeping track by this memory address register. And coming to the PC, PC is nothing but is your program counter. Program counter is a special register in your CPU. And this special register, what is actually doing? This register keeps the address of the next instruction to be executed. For example, if I have the next instruction, addition to be executed in the microprocessor, so that instruction address will be keeping track by this program counter. So whatever the next instruction to be executed, that instruction address, not the instruction, students, you have to note down very carefully. It will not save the instruction, it will save the address of that instruction in it. And coming to your ALU, ALU already explained you in your chapter 1. ALU is nothing but it's your arithmetic and logical unit of your CPU, and this ALU places the address of the memory to be fetched. So whatever memory data is required for execution of your instruction, so that memory's address will be stored in your ALU. And coming to your bus, bus is nothing but all the connectivity is nothing but your bus, because this is the diagram basically explains you the bus connectivity between your CPU and the memory. So all this connectivity are called as your bus. So bus is nothing but it's a collection of wire, and that is specially meant for communicating between the internal components of your computer. That is what I told you. So communication between the CPU and the memory, or from memory to the CPU. So this internal communication all will be taking place by using this bus. And you have address bus, data bus and control bus. Address bus is nothing but it will point a memory location. Data bus, it is used to transfer a data between memory and the CPU. Either you can do it in both the ways, because data bus is a bi-direction. You can transfer a data from memory to the CPU or from CPU to the memory. But coming to your address bus, it's a unidirectional. You can only point out to the memory location, and the memory will not point out to the address. So it is unidirection and this is bi-direction. Coming to your control bus, control bus by the name control unit. it will control all the components of your computer. So same way here also, the control bus will control both your read and write operation. So whatever the operation is performed by using this CPU or the memory, that all the operations will be controlled by using this control unit. So it can either controls a write operation or it can control the read operation. So this is the block diagram and all the components I explained you, and you have to take down notes also. All the keywords, terminology with the important keywords. You have to note down this so that it is easy for you to understand the block diagram of your data communication. Next, coming to your example. Here, how the data, I told you the data is communicated between your CPU and the memory. How it is actually happening? So that is what explained in your second diagram. For example, if you take a 8-bit processor, Intel 8-bit processor, then your MDR will also have 8-bit and the memory and the word in your RAM will also takes 8-bit. And all these lines are nothing but your bus connectivity. So you will have a data bus, 8 parallel wires connected between your MDR and the memory. That is your word in the RAM. So for example, if you want to perform, I told you the control bus will control both the read and write operation in a single cable. Like it can be either transfer a data from MDR to memory, or it can transfer the data from memory to MDR. How it is possible? By using this 1 and 0. If the control line indicates 1, it means it is doing the read operation. If the control line indicates 0, means the control line is doing the write operation. So read operation is nothing but whatever the data in the memory will be transferred to the MDR. Listen carefully. 1 indicates read operation and 0 indicates write operation. Here I gave you 1. So it means it is doing the read operation. What does read operation is actually mean? Whatever the data. Here I am taking a 8-bit. So my MDR is also 8. My memory is also 8. So whatever the data is in the word in your RAM will be transferred, that is copied to your MDR. If the line indicates 0, then what happened? Whatever data is in the MDR will be transferred to your memory. So this is how the data communication is actually happening between your memory and the CPU. Coming to your next topic, types of processors. Coming to your types of processor, the microprocessors can be classified based on the 2 basic criteria. The first criteria is that width of the data that can be processed, and the second criteria based on the instruction set. So the first criteria, width of the data. So based on this criteria, the microprocessors are classified into 4 different categories: 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit and 64-bit microprocessors. Why it is depending on the width of the data? Because depending on the width data, the microprocessor can process all the instructions, whatever the user is giving to the computer. So based on the data width only, the microprocessor can process the instruction. So based on this, you have 4 different types, starting from 8-bit to 64-bit microprocessor. Now coming to your second category, based on the instruction set. Instruction set is also another important criteria in the classification of microprocessor. Why? Because in the development stage or in words now, you have only a small set of instructions. Because the complex hardwares are very costly and it is very difficult to build also. So as the technology develops, you have developed more and more complex instruction to increase the functionality of your microprocessor. So based on this instruction set, the microprocessors are classified into RISC and CISC. RISC is nothing but reduced instruction set computers, and the CISC is nothing but complex instruction set computers. So coming to this RISC, I told you it's a reduced. So small set of highly optimized instructions will be taken care by this, and the complex instructions are also implemented by using the simple instructions, so that what will happen, the reducing size, the size of the instruction will be reduced, so that it is called as the reduced instruction set computers. And these are the examples of your RISC: Pentium 4, Intel and AMD K6 and K7. And coming to your complex instruction set computer, by the name itself you can easily identify it's a complex. So it supports hundreds of instructions, and this complex instruction set computer accomplish a wide variety of tasks. So what will happen? This will make your zone in a comfortable by creating a personal computers. And coming to the example of the CISC, Intel 386 and 486, Pentium, all your 3, 2, everything is come under this CISC, and Motorola. So these are the examples of your CISC. And students, today we discussed about two major topics. The first one is very important topic, and it's a basic to be definitely known by you all, how the data is communicated between your CPU and the memory. And the second topic, the types of the processors. Hope you all understood the class today and enjoyed also. And for more educational videos, you can subscribe the YouTube channel of us for recent updates. And you can also give me a like option if you really like the video. Thank you, students.